Does your ordinary radio feel a little limited? If you're looking for a new way to listen, it's time for a fresh start. Introducing the Live the Dream Media app, your premier destination and a new level up for digital radio. Over the last 2 years, we've found new ways to ensure your digital radio experience is the best it can possibly.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Marana and Oro Valley experience. Again, we were on air live streaming this weekend from the Marana Founders Day Parade, and what an event it was, even though it was toasty. It was hot, and I'm proud of something I did. I don't like to gloat at all about stuff, but I actually used a really good amount of sunscreen this weekend, and I made it through that event without significant sunburn. The last 3 times I went, I did not do that, and I paid a price for it. So, yeah. Also, the other plus was I got in the pool this weekend. This is the first time ever in March, and you're probably wondering who I'm looking at, but we got a guest here, and she's awesome, and I can't wait to talk to her. But, yeah, I jumped in the pool this weekend. So if you jumped in the pool this weekend already, let me know in the chats. We were in there swimming. The water was at about 76 degrees. I like it to be around 78 or hotter. In the pool to really, really go into the deeper end and stuff. But that's where it was at, and it was a great time with the family. But yeah, there's a cool down on its way, so everybody can kind of relax, breathe a little bit. We're gonna set the tempo a little better. But anyways, I've got Rhonda Piña here with me. So she is a former councilwoman with the town of Oro Valley, and she has decided to join me today on the Marana Oro Valley experience. Thank you for taking the opportunity.
Thank you,
to
David.
accept the invite and spend time with us. And
well, I appreciate the opportunity to be able to share my story and just the fact that you invited me to come on and be able to do that. I appreciate it. I might be one of your first responses to say that I was not in a swimming pool this weekend.
No.
But I did wear sunscreen.
You did wear sunscreen. You were out and about.
Yes.
It didn't stop you from going and doing your thing.
Nope.
What'd you do this weekend? Anything exciting?
So spent time with family, my parents actually, and then spent time with some friends, and then I played tennis. So played a little bit of tennis. Got hot. So I'm with you. I'm with you on the weather. It did get hot.
Yeah. Oh, I got some. Patagonia Lake was beautiful this weekend. I bet. I love the beach there. Did you guys camp and stay out there at the campsite, or did you just hang out on the beach for a day? Thanks, Monica. I see your comment. Appreciate it. There's so much to do. There's so many things to do this weekend.
There is. We live in a great community. Mm. It's good for seniors, families, whatever you want to do. Yeah. We can do it. We're very fortunate to live where we live. So I have the honor of living in Oro Valley, and I call it an honor because I was able to serve on Oro Valley Town Council, and being able to live in a community where people are engaged, they care, they're active. It's great. Yeah. It's absolutely great.
What years were you on the council?
So I served on council from 2016 to 2020, and I served on 2 different council bodies, if you will. So there was a majority that was on council when I was elected, and then another majority council came on in the last 2 years of my term.
Okay, wonderful. What compelled you to be involved at that time?
What compelled me? So I've always, through whether it's my career, being able to serve civically and professionally. I'm from a volunteer basis. I've always done that. And when I had the opportunity to run for office, it was at a time in my life when I was ready to, financially. The council you don't make money, or you shouldn't, I guess, as a public official. But I had the opportunity to still work and really dedicate good time to solving problems and being a part of keeping Oro Valley going forward in a really good direction. And so it was all about timing and care, because I care about my community. I had the opportunity to work there for many years in some capacity through my banking career, and then also through the volunteer, on being a volunteer on various boards. And so, then the next step would have been, okay, let's serve on council.
So what's your career life outside of
Good,
serving?
good question. So I have been fortunate. I was in the banking industry for 29 years. That included the retail side and commercial. So I have a vast background in understanding, financial accountability, working with employers. When you understand employers, and how they work, you understand how important they are to a community.
Mhm.
So that's some of the experience I want to bring back to council. And I also was able to use it when I was on council the first time. And then after retiring, I did serve on council and I took some time away. And then now I want to come back because I think Oro Valley is at a crossroads. When you look at the 10-year plan for the Oro Valley Path Forward, which is our general plan that will go before the voters in November, there's a lot of there's four different elements in that I believe the voters, they want to see individuals that are working alongside with them, but also for them. So that is one of the reasons why I want to come back, because I want to be part of taking Oro Valley forward. And the three priorities that I'm running on, they're very much aligned to the Oro Valley Path Forward. Mm-hmm. And so my goal is to make sure that I'm really helping to be a part of growing our community in such a way that we're fulfilling the OV Path Forward that our constituents would like, and ensuring that we maintain the quality of core service delivery that we've been getting for decades.
Yeah. What do you mean by the crossroads? What are you seeing happening where you would go, hey, I got to jump back in here?
Yeah,
I'm
good.
concerned.
Yeah, thank you for asking. So the crossroad, if you pay attention to the financials of the town, and once again, this aligns to Oro Valley Path Forward, right, the general plan. Mm-hmm. The things that our voters want and the services, right, that aligns to, we have to be able to have the financial wherewithal to sustain having those quality core service deliveries. And so my thought on this is I want to be able to use my experience to come back, right, and be able to approach the crossroads of, are we doing what we're supposed to do fiscally, right, on the revenue side, to ensure that we're able to pay for what our community wants, and not only pay for it, but keep it sustainable at the levels that we've been used to.
Yeah. And what do you need to do that? I mean, for the basic nomenclature, just the basic expressing of words for this, what does the general voter need to know on how that happens? How do you accommodate that?
So, you know what, layman's terms.
Yeah.
So think about our own household financial structure, right? Mm-hmm. And I know we make X amount of money, so we can only have X amount of expenses. Otherwise, what happens? We don't have it, right?
And you're calling Dave Ramsey.
And I'm calling Dave Ramsey. I'm going, help. So our constituents depend on us to be able to understand the basics of, okay, you only have so much money. Mm-hmm. We have to manage our expenses to keep a quality that we like. And I'm going to go one step further. When you talk about crossroads, if we are having challenges with some of the revenue sources that town management has said that we have, then what are we doing to maintain our expenses? Because we still have to have the core service deliveries, but how are we going to maintain them at those levels? So I would go back to, for the voter that's listening, apply it to our own, right, household finances. You have the money you bring in and the expenses that you have, and how do you manage it appropriately? And what that lends itself to is it a need to have or a nice to have? Town functions work the same way.
Yeah. I saw Christian Sharp on a few times during the last couple months or 6 months or so. And she had talked about something about leakage, that there was a pretty good amount of leakage, and what the leakage was in regards to spending outside of Oro Valley, like at businesses, so you're not getting the sales tax revenue that you could be getting and everything like that. Is that one of the problems that we're looking at And is that something that you're looking to address?
Yeah, so economic development, right, and how we gain our revenue. So Oro Valley, and I don't want to get into too much of the weeds, but I'm always open to talk to voters if they want to send me an email. But when you look at Oro Valley, we are a certain land size, right, and we have business in it. We have our residents that live in it. So the question is, we have places and businesses where our community members can go and spend money, but are they going outside of Oro Valley? Because there are different offerings. Because maybe we haven't done the homework or looked at what would our constituents like to have in our community. So are we spending monies, right, outside and not getting the sales tax revenue? And I go back to this again, it's all connected. Those revenues help us pay for our core service delivery at the levels that we like, right? Whether it's our roads, public safety, parks and recreation. Yeah, it's all connected.
Yeah.
So she's right in a lot of ways. I think we need to look at what do we need to do so that we don't lose our ability to have those high level of core service deliveries, because you only have certain revenue sources. And then what happens when those, they cap out, if you will. And that's, I think, what the town management is essentially saying is that, our construction tax, we're coming to a cap on that, state shared revenue, but I want to just say that that's been no secret. State shared revenues have always been a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So to say that it would be new, I don't think is a fair statement, or, we should have been watching that all along. Construction tax, same way, because you can do a forecast, on construction tax and permitting.
So knowing what you know in finance, what do you see as ideas to make sure those core services are still taken care of?
Yeah, so you have, you can look at the obvious, which is the current expenses that you have, looking at, okay, how do we decrease, right, the current expenses? So you can take a look at that. But there's an overarching umbrella, right, of approaching how you're going to have enough revenue to minimize your expenses. So if I understand you, David, we need to look at ways in tandem, increasing our revenue, decreasing our expenses. So we have to look at figuring out, and to Kristen's point, what is that leakage, right? How do we go above and beyond where our boundaries already are and look to bring in that revenue for ourselves, but also decrease the revenues? And I go back to, again, is it a nice to have or a need to have? These have to be done in tandem.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
I've heard the word annexation used a couple times, and I know you didn't use it right now, but you were talking about going outside of your boundaries.
Yeah.
What's the biggest caveat to that, to the annexation? What's the biggest problem with that would need to be addressed?
Okay. Yeah, I've had this question asked of annexation, and when I served before, we had what I would call negative headwinds against annexation. So I want to maybe see if I can provide a paradigm shift.
Please do.
In the way we look at annexations. So Oro Valley was incorporated in 1974. We are, a 50-plus-year-old town now. So Oro Valley has grown through annexations over time. And so we now, if we have folks that are saying annexation is not the way to go, I would ask the question, if annexations, if Oro Valley was built on annexations, why are people choosing to come to Oro Valley, live in Oro Valley, if the annexations were not done over time, with being very methodical, being done well?
Mm-hmm.
So the annexations, in my opinion, if they're done right, done well, then you have communities where people actually are drawn and want to stay in them as annexed communities. So I think Oro Valley has opportunity to look at doing annexations, but you don't do an annexation for the sake of doing an annexation because there's cost to it. There's unintended consequences, but it doesn't mean that they can't be done for the best interest of the community to deliver, again, to the highest levels of core services that our communities, been experiencing. So I guess I would say, yeah, annexations, we obviously have done them well if people are choosing to stay in Oro Valley and they want to come to Oro Valley.
Right. And it's not a fast process.
No.
Right. Because I think, this is just stuff I've seen. And you see it in a lot of places, a lot of cities and towns. They'll kind of get in this position where they're like, hey, we need to generate some revenue to take care of stuff. And they find ways to create taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you see that happen a lot. And being in the community, when I see something like that, I go, okay, so we're really not looking forward at all. We're just kind of going, hey, what can we do right now, right, to appease this? It's not I see it as like a really scared move as opposed to a bold move, right? A bold move is go and annex, bring in, good tax revenue from spots that are particular spots that are chosen, deliver your core services there. I think that's what I've seen happen in Oro Valley recently. There was a proposal to increase taxes, and you said something that kind of alerts me a little bit, and that it's a 55 and older community. There's a lot of 55 and older there. Well, a lot of them are through their money making years.
Yes.
Right. So that's alerting, right? If I'm going to get older and go, hey, am I going to go live there? But are they going to just raise taxes on me and different things? So talking about that, what do you say to that kind of like, if that's going to be the solve all problem, how do you convince people to buy into annexing?
The question is, why are we taxing?
Because you're talking about a quick solve, right? But knowing that the annexation is going to take time. So how would you sway or convince voters or people to say, hey, hang in for that annexation?
Well, first of all, leadership is about having conversations and bringing people in, right? And messaging and having that transparency. Oftentimes, and you hear this about government, well, they're doing things, it's shady, it's behind, closed doors. Oftentimes, I think if you bring people in as to the whys, just because you can tax a community doesn't mean you should. And it shouldn't be the quick fix. But again, I'm going to go back to you asked me why I wanted to come back to serve. Some of that is the questions I have. Why are we at a place right now where we had the council talking about taxing our community, which does affect seniors? It affects families. It affects our single, household individuals. Why are we talking about taxation now? So you have all along, again, this is fiscal responsibility. You got to look at both sides of the financial statement. Increasing your revenues to take care of your expenses, right? And when you don't do that, and now it's like, why? And in a town, it's no secret that you're going to have state shared revenue expense issues or revenue issues. You're going to have a mature town having maintenance issues, capital project issues you got to take care of. So the question becomes, why are we taxing? Why do we need to do it? And I would say to the community, I'm not a fan of doing taxing just to tax. What do we need to do, and what have we been doing to get to this place? So then couple that with looking at an annexation that takes time. If you're managing all of this in tandem, looking forward, as you say, right? Envisioning what the town needs to look like, what its expenses are going to look like, then you don't run into these problems. And I think that's the crossroads, again, we talked about earlier. That's a crossroads we're at. Because if we would have been managing this, and in my purview or optics, as you will, you don't know till you get in the seat, right? You can dig into it. You find that you can figure out, are we managing things in tandem along the way? And go back to, are we doing nice to have, need to have, right? and still maintain delivering those core services. So to get back to how do we get people to come along with this? We have to let them know that we're doing it for these reasons. We're looking at this. We don't necessarily have to go raise taxes now. Evidently, we don't, because the tax didn't go through except for one. And then now on the 5-year forecast, we're somewhat okay now, which is another thing that I'm a little confused on, that, we either have it here at one period of time and then in another report, we're somewhat doing okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So and that's for another show, but the fiscal side of it, right, and what's been happening. But I think that's how you get them to come along. But you got to get in, you got to dig in, and I'm hoping that I can get elected to council again. It would be an honor, bring my experience, and really work with a council that sees a vision going forward. And if we have to bring the community along, let's do it in such a way that, we build confidence. They can gain confidence to know this is why we're doing what we're doing. So there's no easy answer, David, I think, to your question. It's just being forthright.
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks so far. We're going to jump to a quick sponsorship break, and then we will be right back. I got a couple more questions for Rhonda, and we will see you after this break. Thank you.
In Marana, community isn't just where we live, it's who we are. And at the heart of it all is the Marana Chamber of Commerce. We are building a thriving community through connected business leadership. We start the month bright and early with Marana Mornings, sparking real conversations and connections. We celebrate growing networks at our 4th Tuesday mixers, hosted in exciting spaces. We unite visionaries and leaders at Impact Marana, driving meaningful progress together. We look ahead with Marana Insights, hearing directly from regional voices about what's next for our town. And we serve, through the passion of our board of directors and ambassadors, creating a culture of belonging through service and leadership. Because of our members, we're not just doing more, we're becoming more. Together, we're shaping the future of Marana. We are the Marana Chamber of Commerce.
Hey everybody, it's Chris.
Hey, it's David Samarano.
Hey guys, it's Clint Peak over here.
Hi, I'm Blair Lametti Mathias.
And I'm Summer Smeaton.
Hey, I'm Ron Arenas.
And I'm Will Piña.
Hey guys, I'm Mike Curry.
And I'm Mike Bader.
Hi there, I'm Bruce Ash.
Hi, Ed Wilkinson here.
Hi, this is Bob Elliott.
We are Live the Dream Media. Watch and listen to all of our shows Monday through Friday, only on the Live the Dream Media Network. All right, welcome back. We're going to jump into this next segment with Rhonda. And I got more questions for you, Rhonda.
Sure.
You can't go yet. I'm just kidding. You can go whenever you want. But I got a couple more. So one I want to talk about is the RTA that recently happened. Mm-hmm. Was there anything that surprised you about how it turned out? Anything that stood out about it?
Yeah, interesting that you asked that. So what stood out to me was that the suburbs, if you look at the voting blocks, the different precincts, the suburbs had the highest turnout for a yes vote for RTA. So I was a little surprised at that but then at the same time, what it told me is, again, and we kind of know this, there's engaged voters. They get to know, right, about, the item at hand. And so I think that's what kind of surprised me was the suburbs. I expected maybe, other areas to come in with larger votes. So maybe what this tells me is the suburbs that voted see that maybe their transit, right, around Pima County, they want to see, right, that improved or see it continue. I don't know for sure. We can't get in the heads of voters, but it was interesting that it was the suburbs.
Yeah, well, it was kind of a blowout all the way around.
Exactly.
For all the noise, you're like, man.
Right. So then I'm thinking, this is something that people, they got out and they voted yes. And it also tells me maybe we have, individuals or voters that they work outside of maybe the city, or they work at other places within Pima County and they commute. And they want to make sure that their commutes are, what they need to be.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
or they like the projects.
a lot of people on this side of town do travel to the city
Yep.
through the highway system, out from Marana all the way down.
Yes.
Oro Valley, jumping on, depending where you're at, riding down Oracle, which is also a highway.
Yes,
A lot of people don't realize that,
Oracle Road is a
Yeah.
highway.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So you have a lot of travel that happens because, and this is a whole nother show, right? The economic development on in this area, and
Yes.
having jobs and stuff
Yes.
for families to leave their house and drive 5 minutes and go to work, right? That's not there yet.
Right. In a
But-
perfect world, it would be. And they talk about mobility,
Right.
there's talk about mobility, right, in government and different, areas. And, the mobility is, in a perfect world, could we, bike to work every day or, ride a bus every day? That's not practical because as a whole, and it's inherent, Pima County is spread out.
Yeah.
But what I will say for the suburbs and the towns, because I'm familiar with those, we live in one in Oro Valley, the towns themselves have done a great job of ensuring that their constituents have the things that they need and be able to get around and done a very good job with that.
Yeah. I wasn't surprised. I know you didn't ask me, but I'm going to tell you anyways. I wasn't
Well-
surprised. And here's why I wasn't surprised, Rhonda.
Uh-huh.
Nobody else had another plan.
Yeah.
I've said it a couple of times when you go, well, what's your plan? You want to say no, but what happens next? Well, they go back and they create another plan. Well, what's going to be on that?
Mm-hmm.
How is it going to be better and serve? What are we talking about, right?
Right.
And there was just never anything else. And I'm like, look,
Yeah.
we gotta get this done, especially regionally.
Yeah.
It's
My thought for the voters, and I go back to this again, that's a half a cent tax. It's meaningful to people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my thought would be, let's finish what we started. Get those really truly finish them. Let's gain some confidence in RT. Let's make it work.
yeah,
And then start on those new projects and go from there. And I think that down the road, and I probably won't be around to see it, but you know what? The third iteration of RTA,
Yeah.
there'll be more confidence in it.
yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing too, is reading how far out it goes and the projects associated with the time. But
yeah.
anyways, hey, if you guys have any questions for Rhonda, feel free to drop them in the chat. Also, you can call 520-771-5101 on the studio line if you're looking to jump in the conversation and ask questions. Rhonda, so let's talk about campaign stuff now. Let's get into it. So
Yep.
the first thing, I want to go back to the fact that you were on the council before.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I didn't do a good job of giving you the opportunity to talk about things you got done during that time, right? Some key policies, matters that you were involved with. So give us a quick rundown of some stuff you did during your tenure at that time.
Right. So the priorities I'm running on, right, are public safety, financial responsibility, accountability, and then, of course, strategic economic development. When you look at public safety, I do have the endorsement of As Cops, which I'm so proud of that. It's not a matter of saying, yeah, I support public safety. I did some things that I think they felt very comfortable in that, you know what, she stands behind her words. So one of the things when I was on council, we passed the distracted driving ordinance. We were the first community to pass it, and now every community pretty much has passed the distracted driving ordinance. I'm really proud of that because safety is not a partisan issue. It affects all of us, and we did get pushback at first, right, taking rights away and whatever, but moved forward with it. It wasn't an argument, and it's really important because not only does it protect our citizens from really bad accidents, but it affects public safety officers. When you have to respond to a very, very serious accident or fatality, it takes a toll. It takes a toll, and it's just, we would maybe not experience that. And so that's another reason why. So it's the human element behind that. The other piece of it is the budget. When you have and if you know or study the budgets, when you have very, very serious or fatal accidents, it's a higher cost to the budget. And we always want to put people first. We put the safety first, but then you look at that piece. And so if we can find ways, which I've thoroughly believed in it, to ensure that we're doing the right things that affect a lot of different things for the town, then that was a reason to pass that distracted driving ordinance. The other thing that we did is I was involved in creating the Oro Valley PD Canine Retirement Program. Near and dear to me. We take care of our canines after they retire, and we help our police officers who take care of those canines after they retire, that they don't get paid for, right? And then the other piece is that I'm really proud of, we hired, it was an internal hire to hire Chief Kara Riley. And I think that bodes well. She's done a great job, and it bodes well for the morale, which is important to our public safety, delivery of service. And so that was one of the things I'm really proud of. The other piece is we passed, while I was on council, the Northwest Recharge and Recovery Program, or project, I should say. Great project with the town of Marana. We've always, had a great relationship with the town of Marana. They have always been supportive of what Oro Valley does, and also with Metro Water. And essentially, in layman's terms, because water is such a complex, subject, what that does is it allows for the town of Oro Valley to have their recharged CAP water allocations brought to Oro Valley so that we can maintain the current wells, groundwater wells that we have in Oro Valley. So it's a very, very strategic effort in groundwater preservation that is going to serve Oro Valley well for years. One of the other things that we did was passed a policy, and I don't know if it's still in play, I have to look, but to put 5% of the contingent funds into capital improvement. So you always are being, again, like we talked about earlier, being mindful of what it's going to cost, right? Your expenses, and planning ahead. So, and then also too, with the economic development, we looked at redoing business ordinances to make it more user-friendly for the business community. And so there's just some different things that were done, from the fiscal, the public safety side, and the economic development side that was very beneficial. Oh, also supported the veterinary school with the U of A as part of our biosciences industry here in Oro Valley.
Very nice.
Very proud.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
One thing about the smaller towns here, Marana and Oro Valley, the elections are nonpartisan.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people really forget that. And I kind of want to say a piece on this is these elections, these smaller elections, these for your town, the local level, these are what really matter the most.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I've been out and about and talking to people about some of the candidates and different things. And they're like, well, what are they? And it's like, hold on. You're at the ground level of everything that matters to you here, right? You have really direct representation of this area, and you are choosing to champion on this and that, right? And choosing to follow this and that. And it's like, this strips that away and gives you the opportunity to operate at this level of true community. And that's why I really, really enjoy the fact that these elections are nonpartisan, because you can throw away out that decisiveness, push it aside. I remember one of our interns was talking to somebody, and they were like hearing was reading a website of one of the candidates in Oro Valley, and they're like, man, this is great. Oh man, I'm all about that. And then they were like, well, what are they? And they told them what party they were affiliated with. They're like, oh, I can't do it. You know how ridiculous that is? Like you just threw away everything that you believed in because at that moment, because, oh man, this is that, right? So I see this is that opportunity to just push all that away, really look at your neighbor and go, hey, what do we want to see happen?
Yeah.
Which person do we feel has the experience or is the best for what we want to see happen for this place?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because Oro Valley is a nonpartisan election. That's the foundation of it, which means that the individuals that are on council, they're elected at large. There's no different charters or anything of that nature. It's at large with these elections. And so I would hope that voters want people who are going to do what's right for the community. And the items that I just shared with you, whether it's public safety, right? The ordinance with safety, right? Distracted driving, or with water, or, things that are collective to a community. I would hope that, people look at that and go, okay, that's what's important. That's what should be important. Because at the end of the day, like you mentioned, your neighbor, we all have to live needing our core services, right? So we want to make sure that our electeds don't pick and choose. It's not about special interests. It's not about, right? If we stay on track and we have the best intentions to serve the community as a whole, to work together, you can still have your convictions. David, I think, people, right, you can be of a certain party, right? But at the end of the day, you can still maintain your convictions, but when you're in a leadership role, you make sure that you're looking out for the betterment of the community. And for me personally, I have found that when I take that approach, typically, and people have learned today that, they get a really good leader that's, going to look out for them. And it's not about party. It's going to be what's in your best interest.
Yeah. That's really important. And it goes into the business world, right?
Yes, it does.
It's dividing in the business world. You wouldn't want to do that, right? You want to be, and it shouldn't matter. It's like, hey, is this a service you like? Or are you digging this? What can we make better?
Well, I know for banking, I can tell you that being discriminatory based on a party, I think there's like violations against that, right? Like you could get yourself in trouble for saying, I can't lend you or I can't do this because, you're of a party and I got to ask you the party first. It doesn't work that way. You do what you need to do. And business people, I so appreciate that. And being able to work in the banking industry and work with commercial clients, they take care of our community. They provide services. They provide, right, jobs. Yeah. They're not looking at, like what's what with a party or this or that.
Hold on, let me think about the agenda real quick. Let me see if this. No, I can't act on it. Sorry.
Exactly. So I think with business people, we can appreciate what they do for us, and you don't pick and choose, and I think that we're better off for that. And so being able to ensure that we're taking care of our business community and actually taking care of each other, because at the end of the day, we all need to drink water. So if you can pass policy on getting us drinking water, I think we're all going to benefit. Yeah. Or public safety. If I know you're safe, David, that's all, I care about that, right? It doesn't matter who you are. We need everybody to be safe. So, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because that is super important. I think now even more, as we're getting into decision making.
Absolutely.
I know who I like to make decisions, people that can get things done, work to get things done.
Understand the common goal of what we need. Because no matter where you're at in life, at some point, you've either experienced this or you're going to experience this. Yes. There's going to be some kind of problem or something we have to figure out, and we have to push that all aside.
Yep, we absolutely do. So I'm all for, talking to people and sharing, if you want to know a view or want to see, how leadership is looked upon, always glad to have those conversations.
Right.
And sometimes, just not sometimes, probably most of the time, is people just want to be heard. And then another thing too, I'm glad you brought this up about the local level. So our local level policies, they affect us at that level. But there's things that are done at the federal level we don't make decisions on at the local level. And that's the other thing, to learn too for people is we don't make policy decisions on everything.
Like the gas price?
Like the gas prices.
I've heard people say, "Well, the gas so expensive," and blaming local government. I'm like, I don't.
Yeah, no, I can
feel
say
like that's the.
I can tell you from serving previously that gas prices are not something at the local level. We have responsibility for other costs and fees and taxation that we need to be mindful of, but it's not gas.
Yeah, good to hear on that.
Yep.
So how do folks help you out with your campaign? Do you need help? What are you looking to do? How can people join in? How can they talk to you, reach out?
Oh, so let's talk. Let's talk first because I'm always about hearing from people. So send me an email at Piña for Oro Valley @gmail.com. So that's number one if you want to write in and share something with me. And then when it comes to support, the vote the vote is the support. When it's all said and done, it's the vote, right? That you have confidence in me that I am going to be the leader that you want to see as one of 4 in this majority council election serving. And so the vote for the primary election, the state moved it up, so it's now July 21st, 2026.
Oh, okay.
I know, it's right around the corner. And so people will be getting their ballots. Just make sure that if you're traveling for the summer, we have a lot of folks that go out of town, just make sure that your ballot's in. It's going to get counted on July 21st. And I would ask that people just be mindful that you have a right to have good people leading for you. And so I hope that I can earn that vote to be able to take that place on council. And thank you for listening today. And
they get to listen for the
and
next
comments.
as long as this is on the internet, they'll be able to listen.
And
So,
absolutely.
You know, and that reminds me, if you did or you didn't catch the whole show, if you missed the show, you can always find it on the Marana and Oro Valley Experience podcast channel on Spotify or the Live the Dream Media YouTube channel. And you can also find it on like 12 other platforms. So just go on whatever you're looking to stream on, and it'll be up there not long after the show. So, hey, Rhonda, you got anything else you wanna drop on here? You got any surprising news or questions for me?
Any surprising news? You know, I don't know that it's surprising news, but it's just to say thank you to our constituents that they stay engaged and they care for making sure their communities are running in the direction that is beneficial for everybody. And then I also want to thank you, David, because you invited me on the show. We've had great conversation, and I got to give it to you. That's a way for people to find out what's going on and who's doing it and who wants to be involved. So I appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem.
Appreciate you talking about some of the harder things that, you know, people don't necessarily want to talk about issues, but we get it out there.
The nonpartisan thing. Oh man, I can't take my jersey off. I can't.
The nonpartisan, the annexations.
I'm an independent, by the way, so I don't do that either way. So.
the annexations, or, you know, things that may seem uncomfortable. You know, let's talk about them, because I do believe that, you know, answers rise to the top. You know, we can get to yeses. Just gotta figure out how we do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I started when I vote now, especially because I just with having kids, when I'm voting, I'm thinking about them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. There's a lot of young families in Oro Valley. I think we'd be surprised, you know.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of young families.
I go to the Wilson there for like sports and stuff like that with the kids, and I run into parents that I meet out there, and they're like, "Yeah, my kid goes here. We live right," you know. And it's like there's a lot of young families out there. I think that demo is going to start change in trajectory. I think you're going to start having more. I think it's going to start getting younger and younger and younger. Because right now in Marana, it's 39 is the average age.
Yep.
Oro Valley's 51.
51
right now. Right. So it's it's lower than the 55 we were talking about. And I feel like it's going to continue to go in that direction, especially if there's some annexation that takes place. If you do grab a couple, apartment complexes or something get put into those.
And here's another way of looking at that. So we have families, right? We have the families, but guess what? We also have the grandparents, right? So here's something to think about. If we want to engage, right, our family and our family values, and what happens if we just stay closed up, right, which that can never happen. You just can't close up for business. What if you want to bring your parents to town with your family? You got families that want aging folks that want to retire, right, and be near their families, right, or families that want to be with their friends because they see what their families are experiencing in great communities. Yeah. Right, and so I think that's something that we should give thought to too. Is, you know, being able to allow for that to happen if people so choose that. Because something was evidently done right in the town of Oro Valley, that people still want to stay there, and we still want to, and people still want to come to our community. But I'm with you on the family, and families are great. Who doesn't love your kids? You see them, and they're vibrant. That's our next generation. And being a grandparent myself, I'm right there. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to be around your families, and I think there's a way to do it. Most families want to be together.
What do you say? This will be my last question. This one's a hard one.
Go
Okay.
ask. I told
Well,
you.
at least I think it's
I
hard.
told you
Maybe
I
it's
would
not hard
answer-
for you.
I told
but-
you I would answer your questions. That's leadership.
Yeah. So what do you say to that young family that goes, hey, I would like to see something out here in Oro Valley where things start happening where our kids can have some jobs out here?
We have to.
Like a good
so our
career.
kids.
Yeah, career, right?
Oh,
Because you guys
okay.
got the what is it,
Yes.
the innovation?
We have the Innovation Park,
Yes.
right, which includes the biosciences. We have some light manufacturing
Yeah.
with some of our companies.
What would be some what would be some great assets to move into the area that would help? What do you think what would you like to see happen in 5 to 10 years?
Well, first of all, I think you have to have something that, why do people want to go to something? What does it do, right? So like say you have venues where you can have families want to come to venues. So when you're talking about two different things, we're talking about venues, or are we talking about jobs? Because if someone works in Oro Valley, they probably want to live there, but they also want something to do. Again, goes to the leakage. They're going to go down to wherever or go over to Marana and spend money over there, right? So when it comes to jobs, I think we need to do a revamp of what it is that we can do to expand the industries that are already in Oro Valley to have those jobs, right? To keep those jobs for, right, the younger people that want to be here and raise their family. So we need to look at that. Also, too, we got to change with the times. What's happening in industries? Are we keeping up? Are we aligning the existing industries that we have with what's coming down the pike in order to ensure that we're providing the jobs that young people, young families, would want to take living in Oro Valley, right? And then with that, I'm going to go back to this. When you have a very successful fiscal community, you're able to provide those venues that you're talking about, right? It comes from the needs and the nice to have. And when you are running fiscally sound, you're able to provide the venues or look at envisioning those venues for, young folks to want to enjoy, along with seniors. And I'm going to give it to you. I don't think seniors, I am one by age, but I think, we got a lot of young seniors, right, in our communities, right? They want stuff to do.
Right.
So that's conversations I think we need to have, but it's all going to come down to, we all want to have certain things, but what is it that we need to do fiscally that will allow that to happen for those things that we'd like to have? But also we look at the economics of who we want to provide jobs for, right? We've got to look at the different industries and align them and change with the times if we need to.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot of work to do, Rhonda.
There is a lot of work,
So
and
I
I would
wanna
like
wish
to
you
be
good
part
luck.
of that.
Hey, again, thanks for taking time to
thank
be
you,
on the show
David.
today. I would like for you to consider this, right? As you move into this realm, and if you are elected this election season, still come here.
Absolutely.
Still come share information, things that are coming up, ideas you have. Like, I want this to be a platform for folks to come and talk,
Absolutely.
even if they are in that position.
I will make that commitment to you.
There we go.
I think that's another form of transparency.
There we
which
go.
like.
Go jump on. I mean, it's what do you got to lose? Yeah. So, hey, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to the Marana and Oro Valley experience today. It's always a pleasure getting to interview folks here, local leaders in the community. And we remind you that Wake Up is now behind the premium membership on our YouTube channel, also on our Spotify channel. So after 48 hours, those shows are available to those members exclusively. Be one of those members. There's more perks coming, so don't miss out on the cool stuff we have coming up. We're talking game tickets, all kinds of different things that you'll be eligible for. So go ahead and sign up. Also, Marana and Oro Valley Experience and the Clint Peak Show will be moving behind the starter package on YouTube. But if you have the premium, you get all of them. So premium gives you all of them. The starter only gives you Marana and Oro Valley Experience and Clint Peak. So make sure you jump in and have access to these shows. So always, we appreciate your listenership. We appreciate all of our sponsors, and we look forward to providing you more content